All right, so let's jump into it. We are here for episode 32 of our Toolbox Tuesday, focusing on our time clock extension. You've got both myself and Carlie here today. That'll be your presenters. I'm going to walk you through the PowerPoint here very quickly, and then Carlie's going to help us out with that live demo. So like we always do, agenda first, we're going to go right into the gaps in Business Central, why our time clock is a good solution. We're going to jump then into a live demo of the tool. And then we'll finish up with some next steps that you can take to be successful with our application, as well as the resources that you'll need in order to achieve that success. I mentioned Q&A. Throw that in the chat as we go throughout the presentation. We'll stop and answer any of the questions in line with the topics that are being discussed. So first, what are the gaps? Pretty simple here. There's not really a great way in Business Central to do out-of-box time record keeping, whether that be payroll time or just simply clocking in and out for a project or a job or a work order, something like that, right? And there's not really an easy way to export this time data feed to an external payroll provider outside of Business Central. So how do we solve that with our solutions? One of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to allow users to clock in and clock out for both the start and end of their day, as well as the start or end of their break. So if you need people to clock in and out for a lunch break or any sort of break throughout the day that you're giving them, we can accomplish that with our solution. The other thing is going to be booking time to projects, work orders, service orders, production orders, and jobs, right? So some of these, like the projects and the work orders, are going to be tools that we've created, whereas some of these others are going to be out-of-box Business Central functions. We allow you to book time to all of those as well. We did talk about breaks earlier. We also have the option to do auto breaks for lunch, and maybe if you get like a 15-minute break in the morning and the afternoon. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. Option to do snap time. So we'll use 15-minute increments as an example here. But this is going to, if you are clocking in or clocking out, let's say you're clocking out at 11:57, right? It's going to snap that up to noon to make sure that increment is in a full 15 minutes. Next, we have the option to do time entries for things like your vacation, your sick days, your bereavement, right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All different types of miscellaneous time entries outside of just your day-to-day clocking in and clocking out for the work that you're doing. And then finally, the ability to do time journals approvals, right? So we can approve these journals, submit them for payroll, and things like that to make sure that everyone that's submitting time is also getting approved maybe by their manager or supervisor. So without taking any more time on the PowerPoint, as you know we don't like to do, we're going to jump right into the live demo, and I want to pass it off to Carlie to help out with that.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. All right, you should be seeing Business Central now. Here, I'm going to start at the TimeClock Setup, and we're just going to go through a few setup things that are important before we actually head over to the time sheet itself to record some time. Okay, so here at the TimeClock Setup, Ben mentioned we have a payroll file built to export out the time. So we have that built right now for ADP. If you or your client have a different payroll provider, it'd probably just be a few hours for us to tweak the file to get that to match. Okay, so the one we have right now is built for ADP. And that'll just export it out so you can import it into your payroll system. Okay. Here, a few options. So this is for the clock in and clock out. So when your employees go and clock in, this is that time snap Ben just mentioned. So where he said if you clock in at 11:57 or clock out at then, it would round it to noon. Okay, so if you have this time turned off, it's not going to do that rounding. Okay. Retain clock in entry here. I have this turned on, and so it's going to retain two entries for me. It's going to retain my clock in entry, and then it's also going to retain a second entry for clock out. So every time someone clocks in and out, it'll be two separate entries. The other option is to turn this off, and they'll clock in, and when they clock out, it's all just stored as one line entry. Okay, so on that one entry, it would have like the clock in, the clock out, and the number of hours. Okay, so we just have that option there for you. Break in, out, and lunch in and out are set up the same here. So enable break in and out buttons. Do you even want this to be an option where your employee can break out for lunch? And then the same concept I just explained about if you want to retain one entry versus two, I have it turned on, so it's going to do the two entries for both the break in and the break out. Default break code. So this is just kind of labeling it on the our kind of storage file of it, that was a break or that was a lunch right here. So you could name that whatever you would like. And then if you want to do a default break, so if they work 6 hours, you can see here, we have it default for 15 minutes, that a break is kind of automatically logged for them. Okay, you can set this up to however you would like. And then we have the same thing for lunch down here. If they work 8 hours, they have to take a 30-minute lunch is what this is saying right now. Okay. These next ones here are all about how we're going to allocate our time. Okay, so we can do it for service orders, projects. So this is using our project management extension. Okay, so that's another extension we offer. Work orders, the same thing. That's another extension we offer. And then out-of-box jobs, or now called projects, and out-of-box production orders. Okay, so you can allocate your time for any of these. Today, we'll see that I'm using our project management extension, and I'll allocate time to one of the projects. Okay. Down here, we have some new cool features, okay? And this will make a little bit more sense as I actually go through it with you on the timesheet. But in general, what this is allowing is for us to request vacation. And you can see a company calendar to see, who else is having time off that day. If Ben, has time off for these days, might not get approved type of thing. So you can kind of see a company's calendar there, and then kind of requesting vacation or an absence off, jury duty, things like that, just like putting it in and it being routed to your manager. And then also an HR approval. So how it works is, if we have this require HR approval, that's like the final approval. So what would happen is I would request my vacation and it would be sent to my manager, okay? And then once my manager approves, do you want it to be sent to HR for a final approval? That's what this button is doing here. So that would be a two-step approval right here. Okay, and we have, that's just turning on that, yes, we want people to request vacation, we want people to request an absence, and then these three right here are for our company calendar that you'll see, okay, and so this is once vacation's approved, or an absence is approved, it's going to turn this color, pending request this color, company holidays this color. And where I'm getting these colors from is they're called a hexa value. So you can really just take this right to Google and see all the colors there. And I just picked some, okay? It'll come up right away. That's where those numbers are coming from. Alrighty, so there's majority of the setup. A few other things here I want to call out is we have a shift setup here. So this is just the out-of-box shifts that we will give you once you install TimeClock. You can create or edit any of these. You can, delete a bunch if you only have a few shifts. You might not want to store all of these here, whatever you would like, okay? What shifts do is it allows us to assign a shift to somebody, and then we can track, okay, are they logging in before their shift starts? Are they usually late? We can kind of see reporting wise, how are they kind of tracking based off of the shift that they are assigned, okay? And we can track tardiness, and I'll show you that here in a second too. User setup is tracking two things. So you want to add your user in there. This is me, and can I admin the time clock page? So we have a TimeClock entry page or a TimeClock admin page that I'll show you. Does this person have access to that? And then are they also an admin of the HR page? So this is where I mentioned that if you want to send vacation absence requests to HR, can you monitor that page as well? Okay, so this would really just be some the HR person you'd want to give access there. Employee time clock setup. And so a requirement with our time clock solution is that it's you have to have your employees set up as employees inside of Business Central. Okay, so it'll directly reference the employee table inside of Business Central. That's where all of these are coming from. Okay, just the out-of-box table. Those will all pull in. You can bring in the payroll employee number from payroll. If they're salary or if they're hourly salary with overtime, a contractor, you can assign there. Wouldn't really have a shift necessarily if they're salary sometimes, but you can assign it and then putting in the hours, linking it to my user, etc. This right over here is nice. And so if I'm saying, okay, Carlie has 80 hours of vacation a year, I can, as I'm requesting more and more vacation, it'll show me, okay, you have X amount left, you have 40 hours left, etc. So I'm able to track that, okay? And then lastly here, you can enter company holidays, and this will show up also on the company calendar that I will show you. Alrighty, so we're gonna go and head over to the actual time clock. Okay, I'm gonna jump here. You're going to enter your employee number. So mine happens to be E0010. It might make more sense for you to change these to be like the first and last name. Okay, something maybe a little bit more easy, but that's what mine is set up to be right now. Okay, so as I hit enter tab, you'll see my time clock entries load in here. And I'm going to do some clocking in and clocking out here, okay? So I'm already clocked in, but I can do a project in and out right here. So this is because I enabled on the setup page, if you remember, that I want to record time against projects. Now, if I did this against work orders, if I turned it on against work orders or out-of-box jobs, you're going to see different buttons here, okay? So it's going to update based on what your settings are on that setup page. I selected I want to record time for projects, okay? So typically you'd come in here and I can clock in for the day, and then I'm going to say, okay, now I'm going to start working on this project. Now I want to, jump into that project. And so I can select it here. And again, this is using our project management extension. I'm going to say project 6, and I can pick my task, and I'm going to say, okay. And you can see I'm logged into my project. And if I jump up here, it has my project in right here, okay? And so now I could come in here, time has passed, and I can come back and say, okay, I'm gonna jump back out of that project out, description. Projects, I can mark it as billable, hit close. Okay, now I've logged off that project. My time is very small here that I was working on that project. But what you'll see is if I come over to our projects using our project management extension, and I did it for project 6. It's going to record that time, okay, demo for clocking in, okay? So it's linking those two extensions together. And then same release scenario, if you're using like out-of-box jobs or the other kind of allocations that we had offered, which are work orders, production orders, job service as well, okay? So there's clocking in and clocking out, clocking for a project. I can break out and break in. So if I'm gonna take a break, I can come in here and I'm on break. Okay, now I'm gonna break back in. Now I'm off break. Again, you'll see those 2 line entries right there. Okay, so that's the difference that we went through in the setup. If you want it to track 2 entries here versus 1, okay? I have it selected to track 2 separate entries. That's why you see 2 lines. I can do the same thing for lunch and then lunch back in. Okay, now you're going to see those 2 lines again as well. Okay, and this is all transferred to the page that will generate the payroll file, right? That's really where it's going to matter. Okay, and then I can clock out. Here's where I can do my vacation request or absence request. Okay, so let's walk through one of those. I can come up here and do a vacation request. I can see I have 72 hours available. I can come down here and I can see, okay, here's our calendar. I can see I'm taking a day off here. I'm taking a day off here. Here's Thanksgiving. Okay, so I can see holidays, etc. Okay, so this is really nice. So you can kind of see everything right here. You don't have to open up Outlook separately or your phone calendar and see, what time you're taking off. It's going to be stored in here. I can come and I'm going to request, let's do December 2nd. Request then. Here I could enter a note if needed, say okay. I can see my manager as well right here, and I'm going to submit that. Yes. Okay. I can do the same thing for an absence request. And so if this is like, we have some options right here. If you want to put in that you're sick today, called out, etc., you can do that as well for that to get routed too. Okay. If I come back to my home page, I have these all bookmarked here. Otherwise, you could search them. I can go to my HR task to approve. I'm going to remove that here. I can see that request right here. Okay, so I can open it up. I can see, okay, it's for just December 2nd. I could say, okay, let's see, does anybody else have off on December 2nd? Nope, it just looks like Carlie's requesting that. Okay, and kind of see that right there. I can approve or deny it then. So in this scenario, I am the person that requested it. I'm also the manager. Okay, typically that wouldn't be how it's set up. I just did that for the demo purpose. But you can see here, okay, the manager approved it, but now it's sent to HR for approval. I just got an email because I'm set up as the HR person. And you can see vacation request from, this is me, has been approved by the manager. HR, please finalize it. Okay, I can open this up and it's going to take me back there to finalize it. Okay, so that's kind of what the route looks like for vacation and absence for approvals there. Okay, I can go to this page called HR Admin Tasks and see other requests, but then I can also see that calendar if I'm the HR and I want to see kind of a company-wide calendar here. I can see that all at once, which is nice. Alrighty. Really the last page here to show is the TimeClock entry administration page. So if you remember on the TimeClock setup, there is a page or a little tab called user setup, and that gives somebody access to this page. And so I have access to this page. You wouldn't turn this on for everybody, of course. Okay, so this is where I can see all time entries. Okay, you can see most of them are from me from testing, but I could see any others right here as well. Okay, I can do a lot of sorting. I can open this to Excel myself. If I like, I can do filters if I just want to pull in this week, etc. Okay, looking here, I want to show a few things. Today's clock-in status. So I could see, and these are really for doing shifts and whatnot. I can see when they clocked in, if they're tardy, how many days in the last 30 days that they have been tardy, etc. Okay, I can then also email if you, for example, like know that Jim is in, but he hasn't clocked in yet, you could email him a reminder of, hey, you should clock in today. You haven't done so yet. Okay, so that'll send him a reminder. And this just means I need to have an email set up for him. Okay. So this is a nice little page there. And you can email reminders from there. I can also from this page, as like kind of that HR person or manager, I can add in entries myself. And so if I know something's missing, a break isn't logged in here, there was a sick day that somebody didn't submit, and they were sick for a few days, I can come in here and add in a journal myself. So I can add that for Carlie, for this date, it was sick, and hit close. Okay, and that's going to be added in here as well. Okay, and this is just saying that you could do multiple at once. Okay. I can also edit these entries myself. And so if you hit edit list, there was something I needed to tweak. Maybe it was the wrong project for any of those. I know the time's wrong. Start time or end time is wrong, things like that. I can actually adjust this myself as well before I would want to generate that payroll file. Okay. So you just edit list and I could change it. If you make changes, they are going to be tracked in your change log entries right here. Okay, so if I were to change something and then, save it, I can go to change log entries and it's going to track right here for me. The key with this is you have to have the change log turned on for this table. Okay, so maybe here after the chat, I can put in the table ID that you would turn on for the change log entries. You just want to make sure you go to the setup here and turn that table on. Okay. Alrighty, and lastly here, is the payroll report. Okay, so we have this again, like I mentioned at the beginning, if you have a certain Paylocity, a different payroll provider, Paycom, we'll just work with you guys on getting the file built for that. Be probably just a few hours there. I can generate a pre-payroll report now. Here I can put in a start date filter. I can send this to PDF, Excel, etc. I'll just do Excel for now. Okay. And again, you can always open this up in Excel yourself. I'll open this up now. Okay. And I'm just going to bring that over. Okay. And here you can see that it groups it by employee here, and then it has all of this grouped in here. Okay. And it can be sent to Excel, PDF, whatever you'd like. Alrighty, that is the agenda for the demo. Really, like we mentioned in the beginning of the PowerPoint, out of box, BC does not give you a way to enter time for payroll purposes. And then also, if you're using projects, out of box jobs, our work order tool, production orders, being able to tie this then to those modules as well. It's giving you those capabilities and then can export to payroll, of course. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to hear the PowerPoint.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlie. And I'm starting to drop some of the links that we're going to be talking about in a second here. So for next steps, I just dropped that first YouTube link in. So download 30-day free trials, right? If you're a partner, you can get this in your demo environment to show off to your clients or show off to anybody else internally, whether it be consultants, salespeople, et cetera. And then users, any end users, feel free to drop this in your sandbox environment. And again, everything comes with a 30-day free trial, so you can play around with it on your own. And of course, engage our team if you want any additional help. That activation video that I dropped in is going to be key. It's going to take you to the setup page, show you how to do the generate demo to get you those 30 days, and then also how to plug that activation key in if you decide to move forward with this in kind of that fully licensed 1-year method on a paid license. So the other resources that we're going to be talking about, I'll drop some more of those in there. We've got our product page. Carlie, if you want to jump over to the next screen here, dropped a link in there. We've also got AppSource. So let me drop AppSource in here as well while I'm talking about this. AppSource is going to be where you download it from, but both the product page and AppSource are going to include all of our summaries, our screenshots, our user guides and setup guides, our videos, all of that kind of stuff. And it looks like Carlie has also dropped the table ID if you want to do the changelog tracking like we had just talked about. Additionally, we've got our YouTube channel, so I'll drop that in here. Our YouTube channel is going to have about 100 different videos of all the different products we have, different walkthroughs, things like that you can take a look at. And then finally, our product guide, so I'll drop that in here as well. The product guide is going to be a full listing of all 34 apps that we currently have. It's going to go through fit gap analysis, configuration, training times, all of that jazz. So you'll definitely want to check that out if you're interested in more than just our time clock tool that we talked about today. We went through a lot of the questions, answered some of those questions in the chat as we went. And then the very last slide, as a thank you for everybody coming today, Carlie, if you want to go one more. For anybody who wants to leave a review on TimeClock, you can do this even on a 30-day free trial. We're giving away $10 Amazon.com gift cards per review. So if you want to give reviews to any of our other tools, Health Check is a very popular one we've done recently. That's a free app that's actually going to kind of do that health check on your Business Central environment, as well as a great tool to use during your month end close. So again, if you reviewed 5 different apps on AppSource, that'd be $50 of Amazon gift cards coming your way. If you have any other questions there, feel free to shoot me an email or Carlie an email. But once you've left those reviews, please reach out and we'll get those gift cards over your way. I think that's it for today. Really appreciate everybody tuning in and coming and asking their questions. Carlie, thank you for that awesome live demo. We will be loading this up to our YouTube channel later today and following up with that recording. So if you need anything else, feel free to stick around. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks on our next Toolbox Tuesday.